Good evening. Welcome to the Boston Sci-Fi Town Hall, which for the next 35 minutes or so, myself and two of our colleagues, Sydney Miller and Elsa McLaughlin, will be joining us to discuss what we've learned about the COVID era, how it impacts festivals, and then specifically what decisions we have made to make SF46, the 46th annual Boston Science Fiction Film Festival, happen in this coming February 10th through the 15th. And I wanted to preface this all by saying, we have been burnt out, we have been kicked out, Blockbuster tried to kill us, Blu-rays tried to steal our thunder, the snowpocalypse didn't stop us. We have been Netflixed almost out of existence. VOD tried to suck the air out of all of the things that we've done. And now we have COVID-19 trying to stop us as well. And what has sustained us is the fact that we are committed to presenting a quality film festival in Boston. And we have this community, a community of attendees and a community of filmmakers and people in the industry who support what we do. And so for the past 6 months or so, we have been looking at other film festivals and trying to figure out what the best way of going about SF46 is. And with that, I'd like to introduce to you Sydney Miller. Sydney is the assistant festival director who's been doing a great job. Say hi, Sydney.
Hi.
That's it? Just hi. Okay.
Just hi.
All right. And Elsa McLaughlin, who's our media relations director. And like I said, Elsa, please say hi to everyone. And so what we're going to start off with
Hi, everybody. Am I coming in okay? I'm worried my internet is a little slow.
You're fine. You're fine. One of the things we're going to be doing inside of this program is we're going to be talking, first of all, about some frequently asked questions, which Sydney will highlight. Then we're going to talk about two of our virtual platforms. We have two virtual platforms that we're going to be using, and we'll explain that. One of them is called Socio, and we'll talk about that. The other one is called Fest and Thon, which is where tickets will be bought. Then we're going to talk about the marathon. That'll be in what is known as the E segment. And finally, we'll open it up for a question and answer period. We will also have a comment section where you can ask questions about what's going on. And if you want to ask it's a particular question at a specific time, or you want to ask it later on during the Q&A section. But let me just start off with by saying, something, we are a small film festival, but we are an award-winning festival. We have won 10 awards from Film Freeway as one of the top 100 best reviewed festivals in the world out of 9,000. And we're going to get another award in December that we can't announce because it's embargoed, but we are getting another award from a different source. So Boston Sci-Fi is pretty interesting. And I was wondering, Sydney, what are your thoughts at this particular time?
Yeah, at this particular time, I think Boston Sci-Fi is in a really interesting spot, especially with the virtual platforms, which I know we'll talk about a little bit later. But I think we're presenting a really interesting opportunity for our community to engage with each other. And I'm really excited for the opportunity we're presenting for our community.
Okay. And Elsa, what are your thoughts at this point?
Yeah, I thought this is a pretty exciting time for everybody. If there is any festival that is good at adapting to new circumstances, it's definitely Boston Sci-Fi Fest. So yeah, I think this is going to be a really cool experience. It's set up really well. We've got a lot of really cool things planned. So I'm looking forward to it.
One of the things, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but because I've forgotten already, because I'm a space shot in my, in my dotage. But we're going to be showing 5 trailers today. Each one of these trailers are 5 films that we will be showing in the festival. And the first one is called The Trouble with Being Born. It's a French film, and it's very controversial. So here is a quick clip of The Trouble with Being Born. One of the things about the French is they don't necessarily tell you everything that they want in the trailer. You'd have a hard time trying to explain what's going on. Now, if that was an American trailer, it would be all over. We would know the first act, the second act, the third act. What this film is about, it's about an AI child, an artificially intelligent child, moving from family to family within France. Now, you know, one of the pieces is very controversial, and I don't want to necessarily get into that. But this is more of like a Philip K. Dickian piece where the memory of the AI child and its interaction with the various families is what makes this an intriguing film. And it took us a while to get this film, but we got it, and we're very pleased with that it's going to be shown there. And that's the kind of films that we're going to show. We wanted to make, this is our B segment. So we did the trailer. Now we're going to start talking about what we're thinking about. And this is what we're going to call, we call the FAQ segment. And in the FAQ segment, Sydney's going to take over and ask us some questions so that they hopefully will answer some of the questions that you may have.
Yeah, sure. So, Garen, I'm going to ask this one to you. Just a general question. What's the festival going to look like this year?
What is it going to look like? That's a good question. So we think we did our homework this year because there is no live event anymore. You know, the Somerville Theater is not open. It looks like, you know, the winter is going to be a very tough winter for everybody, and being in our houses and being home and being safe is probably the most important thing. So it's going to be a virtual film festival. And there's no way that we can make the festival a live festival. But what we can do is try to make the attributes of the virtual environment as strong as possible so that the experience, although it's not necessarily as stimulating in some ways as a live event, it will have its own stimulation and its own excitement about it. We will be able to do more interviews with people. We will have some pre-recorded segments going on. You will be able to buy a ticket, and you can see that film anytime within 5 days. Now, some of them may be geo-blocked, which we can get in a little bit later about. Some of them may have some ticket limitations, which we can get in a little bit into in a little bit. But you buy a ticket for a film, you can watch it anytime in 5 days. And that's between the 10th and the 15th. The marathon will be happening as well. We'll be using a virtual platform called Socio as the skin of the festival. And we'll have another virtual platform called Fest Home, where that'll be the technical piece. And that'll also be where you buy tickets. And for the marathon, we'll be using yet a third virtual platform, which will be the Swank proprietary platform. All three of those, and believe it or not, there'll be a fourth platform that we're using, which is the same software that we're using for this particular event, the Boston Sci-Fi Town Hall, which is called StreamYard. I think I said that right, didn't I? StreamYard, or is it YardStream? StreamYard.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's kind of what it would look like. And as we unfold, we'll give you people more and more information exactly how it's going to work. We're trying to make it as easy and as intuitive as we can for everybody.
So if someone's already bought a ticket to the festival, to the marathon, what should they do? Nothing.
I mean, the tickets are going to be good. You know, all the pricing is the same as it would have been. We will let people know what we will take. once we're still working on some of the nuts and bolts, but
Hmm.
once we have the ticket situation with Festum completely solidified, we will then be able to just send everyone a link, which will automatically bring everything over to them, and they'll have a link which they'll get access to. And again, because they have a festival pass, they will have 5 days of not just between 3 and 9 o'clock at night, but 24 hours straight of any film that they want. They can watch a film at 2 o'clock in the morning. They can watch it at 10 o'clock in the morning. They can watch it at 8 o'clock at night. But they get to watch anything that they want, go to any seminar they want, see any shorts program that they want, attend the marathon, all from the comfort of their couch.
Great. Well, and since you're already kind of speaking about programming, when does the festival schedule think it's going to be released?
Well, the actual schedule, our timeline calls for everything to be released on January 3rd. We're notifying submitted filmmakers by December 24th, but we'll be releasing stuff earlier. One of the things that we're doing with this particular event is we're announcing 5 films. We're not giving them dates, but we're saying that they're going to be here. We have about 25 films we're in negotiation with. There are about 10 films that were submitted that we're probably going to put together. We're working on 10 groups of shorts, and the shorts this year are really good. And we're also going to have about 10 seminars and panel discussions. Some of them will be pre-recorded. Some of them will be live. So as we do it, we'll be unveiling every piece bit by bit, but ultimately everything will be ready by January 3rd.
And then, sorry.
That's okay. The pressure's on you. Everyone is watching you right now. Yeah, you're going nuts. You're panicking. You're freezing. The flop sweat's coming down.
All right. So then, can you get a little bit into geo-blocking and what that?
Okay. So here's the thing with the virtual world, and this is one of the things we do. Again, we went to Cannes, we went to TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival, San Diego, Annecy, a whole bunch of places. To see what they did, and we looked at it. So if you put a film up on the internet, there's a real likelihood that someone is just going to steal it, and it's going to go, wherever, one of those, websites, dark websites that you can find all this stuff on. No one is going to want to put their film up there if it's going to be stolen right away, and they put too much time into it, too much energy into it, and too much money into it. So there is a thing called the digital rights management. That's the tool that everyone is using, that has been accepted by Hollywood and most of the major film festivals. DRM for short, because we have to make acronyms out of everything. But digital rights management is what it's all about. And that breaks down into a couple things. Obviously, the film will be watermarked, so you would know where it came from. The 2 other key pieces to it is, one is called geo-blocking and the other is called ticket restrictions. Geo-blocking says you can only play this film in a certain geographical area. For instance, at Toronto, many of the films were geo-blocked for Canada only. Okay. When we do get geo-blocked, we will either probably be geo-blocked just for the US or just for a specific regional area. That specific regional area will be New England, the 6 states of the New England area. So that's what geo-blocking will be. There might be some restrictions about that. In our listings of films, when we announce the films, we will let everyone know what that geo-blocking area is going to be like. The other piece is ticket restrictions. Some of the distributors, some of the producers, some of the directors are going to want us to limit the number of people that can see it. They don't want 10,000 people to see it. Usually that ticket restriction is between 500 and 1,000. And again, we will let people know in advance what that is. And that's what digital rights management, DRM, is. And most of the films that we'll be showing will have some element of that embedded inside them.
Great. Thank you so much. And then last question, what about tickets and where to buy tickets?
Tickets will be on sale probably within 2 weeks before Christmas, because obviously we want to get them up before Christmas because happiness is positive cash flow. But and also they make great Christmas presents. But we should have all that ready. And again, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, get on our newsletter. We'll let everyone know where it is because that's what we want to have happen. So yeah.
Great.
Did that answer the question, or did I go off on a tangent there? I do that sometimes,
Yes, you do. But
Okay.
that answered the question.
Do you have any more? Because we could switch to a trailer right now. Okay, so as I said, we're breaking this up with trailers and examples of some of the films that we're going to be playing. The next one is a film called Beauty Water. And this is a film that is from South Korea. It's an animated feature. And one of our initiatives in programming for SF46 is to increase the number of animated films. This is an example of that. We went to and chased this one down. We have another one coming in from Estonia, no less. But this is called Beauty Water, highly regarded, did very, very well in Asian film festivals. And here's a look at it.
지금부터 기적의 성형수 사용법을 알려드리겠습니다. 먼저 준비물을 확인해 주세요. 지금의 얼굴과 작별을 구하세요. 그럼 이제 시작해 볼까요? 성형수 원액이 피부에 닿지 않게 조심해 주세요. 당신의 살이 녹을 수도 있으니까요. 20분간 얼굴을 담가주세요. 어머, 20분이 너무 길다고요? 지금까지 당신이 외모로 고통받은 시간에 비하면 찰나입니다. 이제부터 보시게 될 화면에 미리 겁먹지 마세요. 아름답고 새롭게 태어나는 모습이니까요. 아주 새롭게.
That one tells you actually a little bit more about what's going on. And again, it is an animated film that looks at how we interpret beauty and how beauty ends up being internalized and then brought forth out into the world, and whether it's as pretty as we like. So that is coming along for SF46. Not sure when it's going to play, but it'll be playing there for sure. So our next segment that we're talking about is on Socio. Socio is one of our virtual platforms. And again, one of the keys for making a decision to go with Socio is how it interacts with the attendees. There'll be a branded app that you'll be able to use. You can use your cell phone to talk to people. And this is what your interface would look like. You'll have a schedule. You'll see presenters, special virtual events, polls. There'll be all sorts of Q&As and polls that are going to be live on this. We can do some live streaming as well as announcement. There'll be push notifications on that. I'm not a fan of push notifications. And there's a whole bunch of other bells and whistles with this suite of software that these people are offering. Sydney, you spent some time talking about it. What was your reaction when you started thinking about Socio?
So, and our coordinator with this also told us to think about Socio like this, how it's treating Socio like it's also a venue, which is something that I really liked about this, rather than thinking about it like a website or like, rather than thinking about it like a website. It's really about connecting people, which is, I think, the number one sell for us to use Socio. So there's chat rooms, our Q&As will be held here, which people will be able to chat within that, which is another reason why I think one of the big reasons why we love Boston Sci-Fi is our community here. So it's really going to be the thing that's going to create our community and bring the community to each other, regardless of the fact that we'll all be at home. So I don't think there's any examples in here, but there's a lot of just kind of virtual chat rooms. And even within those different chat rooms, you can have like video chat rooms that everyone will be able to communicate with each other. So there's a lot of different options within that.
And one of the pieces that I liked about it is that individual groups can create their own chat room. It doesn't have to be a chat room that includes everybody. It could be just the people that you want to talk to. And you can create it inside the Socio skin, and it'll run for the entire festival. It's kind of intriguing about how it goes about that. You mentioned something before, and I thought this was really, really good, Sydney, was, you talk about Socio being the theater itself, the auditorium. And that's kind of a good analogy, that Socio will be the auditorium. Fest Home, where you buy the tickets, is like the box office. So there's your distinction with that as well. Anyways, are there anything else that we should bring talking about with Socio?
Just that we're excited to let you guys get access to it, and hopefully we'll be able to let you play with it soon.
Okay, Elsa, you're kind of new to the whole Socio piece. Did you feel that we explained that well?
Yeah. I think actually using the comparing it to the auditorium is a really useful way to think about it. That it's really just the place where we're going to watch the films. I think it's a pretty straightforward thing. I can say one of the benefits to the people watching, one of the benefits that Boston Sci-Fi has had from being a festival that is later in the year is we've really gotten a lot of time to do a lot of research on all the different options, all the different streaming platforms, and pick one that is going to be good and also easy for our community members to use. So yeah, I think Socio it's a really straightforward platform. It's going to be really easy to use. And I think once everyone's allowed to get in there and play around and click around, it'll be a really easy transition.
Cool. Well, now it's time for us to take a gander at another trailer. Which anyone who knows me knows that I absolutely love trailers. So, and I love this. So this is it's called Hail to the Deadites. It's a documentary about the fans of the entire Evil Dead environment, the universe that is Evil Dead, and it's a fan film. It's not a fan film, but it's done by a fan of the Evil Dead thing, talking to fans of the Evil Dead, and I'm one of those people that actually does like the Evil Dead. So here is the trailer for Evil Dead, which will be playing at the SF46 Boston Sci-Fi Film Festival.
Well, this couple of guys I know decided to, look kind of like Raimi and Campbell and Tappert and all those guys did in those early days. Just roll their sleeves up and jump in and do something really insane and crazy. And they actually are making a movie about the Evil Dead, and it's you guys. So to me, this is the most extreme example of fandom. Under your footsteps, under the floor, you open the door, the silence is deafening. Down, cover your eyes, tell yourself lies, sing lullabies, they're coming to get you down from the book you read, what the evil dead, nothing can save us. I guess what fans should realize is that what they do can be tremendously impactful for good or bad. You stalk somebody, that's bad.
But if you appreciate them in a way that is appropriate or whatever actors do, it does mean something to fans.
That is a nice quote, because that's
very good.
stalking is always bad, but
Stalking is bad.
there is something about, even with us, we call it community, but they're fans. They love science fiction. Some of the folks have been coming for 40 years to the Boston Sci-Fi Fest. I mean, it's amazing. And literally just 2 days ago, one of the longtime members of Boston Sci-Fi, Bob Seitz, sent me a package of all the memorabilia from every single one of the Boston Sci-Fis that he's been, including pictures that I've never seen before of, like, the Orson Welles before it burned. Outside the Orson Welles when I was managing it way back in the prehistoric period. So we have a lot of fans that are very engaged with us, and one of the more important pieces of using Socio was for us to make sure that engagement stays as strong as possible in the virtual world. And that is my next segue is to what is Fest Home and how Fest Home is being utilized. And for that, let's open that discussion up a little bit and say what Fest Home is. Fest Home is another virtual platform. It's located out of Spain, to believe it or not. On the screen, you'll see this is what your interface would look like when you go there to buy a ticket. And you go there to buy a ticket, and they'll take care of it. But on the behind that, we are uploading all of the films that we are putting together onto their servers, and they are converting that into digital form, and then we'll be able to put shows together and screen it off their site. Like I said, they're out of Spain and Europe, and they're doing incredibly well. They're very good at working with filmmakers, which is one of the reasons why we decided to use them for the technical and the ticket aspect over Socio. And I want to make sure that I explained that well. Did I explain that well enough? I always question myself. Okay, well, I'm getting nods, but no great things. So obviously I didn't do it.
Yeah, I think it was good.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, so we're not getting any questions, but if you have any questions, please go to the chat or please wait to the Q&A. So let's go to another trailer, because we love trailers. This is called Fish Love. And I'll set this up for you. This is another French film. I don't know why we're getting so many French films. We're actually getting a lot of French films, a lot of documentaries this year, and a lot of films from South America, believe it or not. And some of them are just really mind-boggling, really good. Fish Love is a story that takes place as the oceans are dying. Literally, they are dying. There is a leitmotif running through this film about the last whale and how everyone is tracking the last whale.
Oh boy.
And that is also being put against this older guy who is trying to find a wife. And this is the trailer for Fish Love.
Miranda, 25 km/h, eau territoriale française.
Il est là. Là au fond, là.
Il n'y a rien là, Daniel.
Je vous rappelle qu'on n'a pas vu la queue d'un poisson sur les côtes françaises depuis 2 ans.
Mais là, il y a un vrai problème en soi. Hein.
Les poissons, faut leur parler, c'est tout. Faut les regarder en face.
Il y a des millions de mecs qui fuient l'idée d'avoir des gosses et toi, tu veux changer tes couches? Pourquoi s'emmerder avec ça?
Les enfants, c'est la vie, c'est l'avenir. Le problème, c'est qu'il n'y a pas de femmes à Belle-Rose. 35 000 habitants, 50,21% de femmes en âge de procréer.
T'es un gros malade, hein.
Tu retires les 7860 qui vivent en couple, bah, ça fait...
Ça fait 4, hein.
La dernière baleine vivante se dirige vers les côtes atlantiques. Qu'est-ce que cela signifie?
Ça vous dirait de boire un verre ce soir? Désolée, la dernière fois que je suis venue, il y avait des petites nappes et des cocktails. Petit poisson, qu'est-ce que tu fais là?
Je sais pas quoi tu joues, mais laisse tomber. Je la connais depuis la 6e. On est comme 2 aimants, elle et moi. Hein, ce mec? Et là, il y avait mes piranhas. J'ai étudié le langage des piranhas. Par exemple, quand ils frottent leur mâchoire comme ça, là, on va dire j'ai envie de faire l'amour.
Pourquoi tu m'as reconnu?
Les sens sont pas assez développés. Elle a le kiffing. J'ai jamais vu une activité synaptique pareille. Allô?
Je suis dans ta tête. Qu'est-ce que vous faites, Daniel?
Il parle.
Like with many a French film, this has its charms, but it really does deal with a serious topic. The serious topic being that the oceans are dying, and is there hope left for mankind? One of the more intriguing pieces to this is that I kept at the beginning of it, I kept watching. Well, is this film going to have some sort of like CGI fish that is going to represent the next wave of fish? And instead, they got this thing called an axolotl or something like that,
Yeah.
which is a very rare South American, Central American fish that walks on the land. And so they use that as a bridge to talk about the future. It's really quite charming and interesting. But that's called Fish Love, and that too will be playing at SF46 come this February. Now it's time to talk about what everyone wants to talk about. What's going on with the marathon? So, is the marathon going to happen? Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen pretty much like it always happens every year and has since 1976. So,
Wow.
there is some kinks in here. So the big issue with putting the marathon together was, where do you get the films in a virtual environment? And literally, Sydney and I talked to no less than 5 different distributors about whether or not they would make their films digitized, and that we would upload them up to our virtual platform with the requisite DRM, digital rights management. Would they do that? And for the most part, they said no. So we had to find out a new way. And luckily, Swank Motion Pictures, which is a non-theatrical distributor, working with many of the mainstream distributors, had created a own proprietary virtual platform and had been slowly converting their entire library over to digitization 2 years ago. So that is where we're going. They have about 1,500 films. Some of them have been digitized already. Some of them we're going to have to pay for it, but we're negotiating with them even as of today to talk about what films we would be able to get. Now, that means that we will show the marathon completely inside our socio environment. So you don't have to go and go to YouTube to watch it at the same time. It will be in real time. We will be showing them in the same kind of order that we always do. We will have guests who are going to be attending. We will have some sidebar pieces to go. We'll show about 13 to 14 films, depending on their running times. We'll have our cartoons. We'll have our special events. We'll have games going on, because one of the great things about Socio is the ability to have games going on and to do polls. We can do instant polls. We can do all sorts of everything. So the interactive level of what we're going to be doing with the marathon is higher in the virtual platform than actually it is in reality if we did a hybrid event. So yes, there will be a marathon, and the tickets will be on sale shortly. Any questions?
A lot of people in the Facebook comments are asking if they're going to have to go stand outside their house for 12 hours before the marathon starts.
Yes, they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to stand outside their house. They're going to have to they're going to build a little cardboard thing, and hopefully it's going to be freezing temperatures and maybe some freezing rain. Hopefully it's going to be as miserable as possible outside, so that you can really enjoy being on your couch. But again, think about what the Socio platform will be able to offer. with your cell phone, with the branded app, you can talk to anybody who's watching at the same time. You can exchange stuff. You can do it as a group. You can do it individually. If there's a lot of creativity going, or a lot of interactivity and a lot of networking ability that we'll be able to do during the marathon, and we're going to gear the marathon towards that. There is a word that I'm using these days called attributes. And I'm using that to explain the differences between a live event and the virtual event. Obviously, a live event, you get to feel the person next to you. You get the smell of 24 hours of being in a room together and enjoying that dank, stank, really bad smell and taking it with you home because that's a memory that you want to enjoy. You can still do that in your home if you don't bathe for a couple of days. But so that's one of the attributes. But the other attributes that we're going to find in the virtual world are going to be different. They're not the same, and they're going to be different, but they're going to be as engaging, if not more engaging. And there will be something, I'm not sure what it is, that we will find inside that environment that is going to be really special. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's where Sydney and I have been working very hard, and Elsa's been working very hard at doing as well. So thank you to them for helping us with that. Any other questions about the marathon?
Okay. I don't see any right now.
All right. So let's go.
If you guys have any questions, put them in the Facebook comments.
Okay. That's good. Yes, very good. So our next trailer is probably the one that I'm kind of most excited about. I literally started chasing this film down 8 months ago. It's a documentary. It's a documentary about Stanley Kubrick. It's called Kubrick on Kubrick. A French, I don't know, again, we're going back to this French thing again. A French critic was a great friend of Stanley Kubrick's. And over his entire career, Michel Simon and Stanley Kubrick would talk hours and hours about film. And he recorded those conversations. So this film is a edited version of those conversations placed against some other interviews, clips from the movies, and explaining from what he did from the mouth of Stanley Kubrick. Here is a trailer.
Well, I mean, a work of fiction, you have to have conflict. If there isn't a problem in a story, it can almost by definition not be a story.
A good story that you make in a film is a miracle. And, you know, it's very hard to work miracles.
And if Stanley trusts you, if he trusts you, you're all right. If he doesn't, beware.
We did 105 takes on this thing, and take 2 was perfect.
I've never done more than, say, 15 takes before in my life.
Directing a movie, if you try to do it properly, is not always fun.
There is going to be some solid trivia questions answered out of this movie. So if you don't see it at Boston Sci-Fi way before it comes out on VOD or something like that, you should definitely check this film out. It's going to be I think it's going to be one of the big films that we're going to be showing. And we've got a couple of other ones coming as well. So I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Elsa.
Oh, no. I was just saying, I think it's going to be really cool.
Okay. That is essentially it, except for the Q&A. And I'm not sure if we've got anyone who has given us any questions.
Oh, we've got questions, Gary.
Oh, we've got questions. Very good. I thought we were speaking to nobody out there.
Oh, no.
Oh, good.
The people are listening, and they have things they want to know.
All right. So shoot. What's the first question?
Okay. So I'm going to start at the bottom and then work my way up. So if you commented earlier in the stream, don't worry. I will get to you. So I think there were some people that were joining a little bit later, Garen, and we have some questions about people who bought their tickets last year, what that means for this year's festival. So if you could just go over that again. I think there are a couple people that have that question.
Yeah, that's a legitimate question. What we've tried to do is to try to make it as easy as possible to be nothing. They don't have to do anything other than just get a new link. There's no hard tickets. It's all going to be about links. But the festival pass is going to be the same price as we are for doing this. So again, it will be the same number of shows. We will have roughly 30 to 35 features, 8 to 10 groups of shorts, and about 10 seminars. A total of about 50 events over the 5-day period. And as I said before, when you think about this festival, it's virtual. That means that you are not bound by the fact that you have to be at a theater at, say, 7 o'clock to watch a movie. You can watch any film that is in your festival pass packet, which is everything, anytime you want. You can watch it once, but you can watch it anytime you want in the 5 days. You could get up in the morning and, like I sometimes do, at 6 o'clock in the morning and go do back-to-back double features or something like that, wait an hour or two, and then watch another film. That's how I do festival period. When it comes to the marathon, same thing. We are going to be doing the same kind of thing with the marathon. The price is going to be same. The only thing that's going to be different is we are going to be sending Fest Pass holders and marathon people a swag bag in advance. So to be able to, and with this, I mean, we've got to have our atomic fireballs, okay? We've got to have a program, and we've got to have some other swag. So we're getting some pieces of swag together to send everybody. We will pay for the shipping out to everyone's house. We'll make sure they got the correct address. They'll get that in plenty of time. So when we do our countdown for the marathon, we can all pop our atomic fireball at the same time and get our ray guns off and fire them. So it essentially is going to be exactly the same, except you won't be standing out in the snow. You won't be worried about who's stealing your seat. You can do it all on your couch of your home.
Very comfy cozy. Okay, so this is actually a good question that a couple people have asked that goes off. It's in a similar vein. So a couple people have asked, is there a way, is it going to be easy to stream this on their TVs, or is this going to be strictly stuck watching from your laptop?
You should, depending on what kind of your TV and whether you're going to be able to get internet on your TV or not. And there are things, and you know what? That's actually a really good question that we should be looking at to give people instructions on how to make sure that their TV is it's going to be compatible, but we need to figure out how that's going to be compatible, and we will answer that. That's a great question.
That is a really good question.
That. Yeah, that's good. We'll work on that, but we'll figure that out. I know it can be done. I just don't know what the exact answer is.
Sydney's already working on it. I can see her writing down. She's going to get to this.
This is why we love Sydney. She's so good. She really is.
If nothing else, there is something, not an IT person, but there are ways to connect your laptop to your TV, a good old-fashioned HDMI cable, but we'll figure out a solid answer and some solid.
And we will also talk to our virtual platforms about what their experience has been, because they're technically much more savvy about this than we are.
Yes, not even technically; they're literally more savvy.
But Sydney, you did make a note of that, right? So you will. Okay, cool. Excellent question. Thank you.
That is a very good question. It might not be a bad idea to go over the geo-blocking one more time.
Sure.
I saw some New Yorkers who were concerned that they would not be allowed to see some films. I think, running through the concept of geo-blocking and what that means in the festival would be great.
Okay. Geo-blocking is a way for us to be able to get films that distributors or producers or filmmakers want to protect their rights to. So what they have requested is that we geo-block them. In other words, we can only show it in a specific geographical area. Right now, that means either the U.S. or New England, which would make New Yorkers make it difficult for them. And we may try to figure out a way to get beyond that, especially if there is enough density, enough questions about that. Then we would, I will work on trying to get that. The problem we will have is obviously some distributors don't want to give up the New York rights right away. But that's not all films. It's only going to be several films, and we will make sure that everyone knows in advance before they buy tickets whether or not those films will be geo-blocked. The other part of the digital rights management is ticket restrictions. That is limiting the actual number of tickets that we can sell. And the minimum right now is 500, and usually the max is about 1,000.
So we've got some wiggle room.
We got some wiggle room, yeah. And again, these are great questions, and one of the reasons why we wanted to have this Facebook town hall was to answer some of these questions, and if we couldn't answer them, to find the right answers for them. But it's amazing how flexible everybody is out there, because the reality is that film festivals are really the vehicle holding up the exhibition industry up right now, because the actual theaters are suffering. They can't open and they can't do it. Film festivals are filling that in. And when I look at where I am projecting we will be as a nation in February of 2021, having a 5-day festival that you can watch films all day long of science fiction films, new ones with all sorts of commentary and guests coming in and stuff like that. It should be pretty awesome.
All right, so I think we have, there are 2 more questions. The first one is, this is actually a very good question. For the marathon, will there be like 5-minute breaks in between movies for the marathon?
Yes.
Boom, easy, done.
Yeah, yep. I mean, it will run just like the regular marathon. We'll have a host, we'll have an MC, and Sydney, why don't you pick up, this is a great time while people are asking about the marathon, about our fan video page.
Yes.
So we're looking for Boston Sci-Fi fans, Boston Sci-Fi audience to send us videos of themselves for our pre-programming. So we're looking to broadcast 2 hours before the festival. So if you have a pre-marathon ritual, interesting sci-fi trivia, anything, get kind of as creative as you like, please.
Yeah, even make a little short, a little sci-fi short, whatever it is. Keep it under about 5 minutes long, shorter if you want, a little longer, no more than 10 minutes. And we're going to put these all together and show them before the show. So it's sort of a way. They're sort of like greeting cards for everybody at the festival, and it'd be really nice. And we've already got one that's already being worked on. So please, and of course, this is not even touching Dan LeBlanc's In Memoriam, which we know Dan is always going to go about 30 minutes long, even though we tell him it's only 20 minutes. But that's Dan, So we'll have a whole pre-show, and if you give us permission, we will put this up on our YouTube channel later on.
And if you could submit them to info@bostonscifi.com, that would be wonderful.
So yeah, that's really good. All right. Did we answer the question, or did I go off on a tangent again?
I think you answered the question.
Cool.
The question was, will there be 5-minute breaks between movies and the marathon? The answer was yes.
There's also going to be a sidebar. I haven't quite figured out exactly how to work out the sidebar, but because it's virtual, we can do whatever we want. And there are some stars that have submitted. There are some people who are stars in films that have been submitted, and they have films that we want to play in the marathon. So we're hoping to be able to have them come and do like a nice little 20-minute talk or a little Q&A with people during the marathon. So if you don't like the film that we're showing, you can go over and see that. Some of that will be pre-recorded, and you can see it at your leisure. Some of it you can do inside the marathon as well. But again, we'll have all sorts of, we'll have MC, we'll have games, we'll have things going on. There'll be a lot of activity going on during the marathon. The marathon's not the marathon unless we have movement, and we've got to have a lot of movement inside, and we will put that movement in it.
So I think just to, it looks like the questions are petering out, but for people who maybe still have questions or came in a little late, I believe by the power invested in Facebook that once we stop streaming live, this video will you'll still be able to see it. So if you missed a part or you want to hear something again, you can still just go to our Boston Sci-Fi Facebook page, click through. We'll probably have your question answered, but if you didn't, just leave a comment on it, comment on our Instagram, comment on our Twitter, comment on Facebook, ask your question. We will see it and we will get it answered.
That's your job.
It is literally my job. It is my job. So it would fill me with a sense of purpose if you could leave questions in the
Are you
comment
lacking
section.
purpose these days, Elsa?
I'm trapped inside my house all day. So I would love to engage in the comment section.
All right. So anyways, we have run a little bit longer than I anticipated.
I know.
But that's because I get to be a gas bag. I'm sorry.
But I think also everybody was a lot more engaged than we expected. Can you believe we thought this was going to be like a 30-minute long event in the beginning?
Yeah, I can believe that. Anyways, so we're winding down here, folks. And I really want to thank you for joining us and taking some time out of your night to watch what we had to say. If you feel that we need to do this again, please let Elsa know and we'll reschedule it. We're going to try and be as open as possible about all of this. I really want to thank Sydney. I can't tell you how important she is in helping us put all of this together. And again, Elsa the same way. And behind the scenes is Colby, who's actually directing this thing. Colby has been one of the great finds. So thank you to Violet for bringing Colby on board. But Elsa is in charge of our social media. So anytime you have a question, anytime you have something that you want to find out about or ask, go to Instagram, go to Facebook, go to Twitter. It's all there. She'll be able to help you. And, I started this thing off by saying, we have been burnt out by the Orson Welles, that we got burnt out. We got kicked out of the Coolidge Corner. We've got all these things that have happened to us, but we've always survived. And if we did, actually, we've thrived beyond surviving. COVID is going to be a big challenge for us. And it is not going to go away. And virtual is not going to go away. We hope that a live event will come back sometime in 2022. I'm a little more pessimistic. I think we'll start having it in 2023, but really depends on the efficacy of the inoculations that are forthcoming. Mm. But the one thing to remember about all this, we are living in a dystopia right now. And Boston Sci-Fi has always been at the forefront of thinking. The future is now, Boston Sci-Fi is now, and we hope you'll join us when we actually lift off on February 10th through the 15th for 5 days of nothing but really incredible, strange, wonderful worlds of science fiction. I'm Garen Daly. Thank you very much.